Congressman James Lankford, live from D.C. You represent Oklahoma City, right?
I do, just north of you, actually. The district, you mentioned Tom Cole, that's his district you're standing in. I represent the district just north of there.
Just north, obviously, as somebody that grew up in Oklahoma, you are certainly used to tornado warnings, tornado watches, and then when the tornado hits. But I would guess, looking at these pictures, nothing could prepare you or the people of this great state for what happened yesterday afternoon around 3:30.
You know, we've actually had fewer tornadoes this spring than what we've had in some previous years on it. So it had been a quiet spring up until the last 2 days. Sunday morning, or Sunday afternoon, I should say, we had tornadoes that went through my district, through Shawnee in Pottawatomie County. And I was out there Monday morning at dawn walking through debris fields that we thought were just horrific, and they are horrific. But then you compare it to what's happening in Moore, and it's just even more tragic that's there. So very difficult days, obviously, for us as a state.
What have you heard from officials on the ground and also FEMA?
Well, the FEMA, as you mentioned before, has declared a major disaster area. That is two things. One, it allows for individual assistance. So if someone has insurance and they need upfront money before the insurance actually pays, they'll be available to get that upfront money. Then they can pay that back to FEMA, but just to kind of carry them through. There's also what's called public assistance. It provides help for cities, counties, and for the state as they come through and try to clear the roads. Obviously, there's a tremendous amount of overtime and cleanup and all things that are going to happen, some rebuilding. Those things are coming quickly on it. The President's speaking at 10 today. The Governor will be back out with a press conference at noon Central Time today. And so there's a lot going on.
So we'll hear probably then a little bit about the coordination, especially when you look at the aerial shots of the devastation and the massive path of this tornado. There are so many people who are displaced. Is there any type of framework in place as to where they can go at this point?
There absolutely is. That's the one thing about Oklahomans that you know well from being around there. Oklahomans watch out for Oklahomans. The difficulty here is typically your neighbor helps you out in a tornado because tornadoes are typically much smaller. Now you're in a situation where the next door neighbor's house is also gone. Our churches have stepped up. First Baptist Church in Moore, which was the epicenter in 1999, is also a major point again. And you have churches all over the area that are already opening up shelters that are providing for people, providing food, providing housing. University of Oklahoma has opened up their dorm spaces. The students have just left to allow people to have housing there for a longer period of time. So there are a lot of options that are coming out there to be able to provide shelter and the immediate assistance, and then other people just taking other neighbors in.
It's amazing. You know, and I'll let you jump in and ask a question, but one of the things yesterday that I know was such a point of frustration that I've seen in other major disasters, no cell phone service. Right. Absolutely no ability to communicate with anyone. If you've lost a family member or you can't find someone, there's no way of finding out. I mean, even now, things are still sketchy in terms of trying to get communications back together.
Yeah, it really is old-fashioned. There are people out here waiting, asking people, tapping on the shoulder, have you seen my son or my relative walking around looking for their neighborhood? Congressman, I just want to ask you before we let you go, if you've heard anything else about developments at the Plaza Towers Elementary School. Is it, as far as you know, still a search and rescue mission? That's where a lot of the hope, I can tell you on the ground here, is that there may be, by some miracle, some children or some teachers still trapped but alive under the rubble. What else can you tell us about that this morning?
I've had some briefings and some updates. I can tell you it will be search and rescue until we know for certain that we've lost those children. And so it will always be search and rescue all the way to the end. This is very similar to 1995. We had people that were found in the Murrah building bombing very late in a very difficult rubble situation. And so we will continue to watch and wait and hope for people to the very end. A lot to be able to be prayed for right now.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, coming up, we actually